Yeah. It is that is a fun time of the year when you got to make the cuts. They're like some of these sleepers, guys you believed in, your Trey McKitties, your Larry Roundtrees. Some of those guys can't come with you. Yeah, Kylan, Cornell Powell. It's like, damn, man. We had the awesomeness that you are, I believe, exists solely in my heart. And it's fine for me, but
well, let's do it all over again
for the next guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. Throwing the Panthers D into a trade is why I still have Calvin Ridley on my roster. If I hadn't fucked around, I could have got rid of Calvin Ridley and just live my life. But no. You know what they say? Sometimes when you make a gamble, it just doesn't pay off. Am I right, Calvin? Straight up. Life's a risk. Sometimes it's a calculated risk. Sometimes you just... You bet on the wrong horse. You put your chips on the table, and the party gets busted up, man. And all of a sudden, you're the biggest loser in the whole match. I don't know. Oh, my heart is broken, America. I'm wearing the Minnesota Rashad Bateman because I'm trying to go back to a simpler time. Before my roster was ruined by personal decisions such as Calvin Ridley gambling on the NFL, and Alvin Kamara having to take matters into his own hands, or however you want to put it. But I've been dealt a swift kick to each of my testicles individually, and quite thoroughly been destroyed from the floor up. So, it's all good. No one builds a roster around Calvin Ridley and Alvin Kamara, right? Like, that's crazy. Who the fuck would ever do that? So,
yeah, welcome back to Rough Draft Research, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the introduction there. I loved it. We, as fantasy managers, all feel pain, and we're all here to listen.
Yeah, except unless you're Canadian, then you're trying to take advantage of a guy while he's down.
So, obviously, we got the headline of the Ridley news out of the way. Let's go on to other news, boys. We haven't really talked much about these crazy blockbuster trades happening.
Oh,
as in Russell Wilson, the new... Is that official yet?
Yeah, I think
it's official? Yeah, so Russell Wilson is officially the Broncos quarterback.
I think the only thing they were waiting on was Russell Wilson's physical, and he tweeted out something about thanking Seattle. So, I mean, it seems like he's good for it.
I was hoping we were going to get
we got a deal.
That's what I was hoping for. We got a deal, Denver. Go Broncos!
I've been dealt.
Is it Go Bronx now? So it still is one syllable, like Go Bronx?
Or
does he do the full Broncos?
Oh,
he thought they were actually in New York City. Thought we were in the boroughs.
There, Sierra. Denver? We're in New York City. We live in the Bronx, bro.
Straight up, going to the Bronx.
Hashtag Lionheart at the helm of the Denver Broncos, man.
Woo-wee.
I did not know Noah Fant was part of that deal. That's crazy. Big. Noah Fant, Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, the number 9 overall pick, 2023 first-round pick, the number 40 overall pick, 2023 second-round pick, and a 2022 fifth round. And I think they also received Seattle's 4th-round pick.
Yeah, they did.
Man, it would have been so much easier just to take Justin Fields last year and then draft Sauce Gardner with the 9th.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, Denver.
Yeah.
Too bad, man.
2020. I mean, which players what guys are you excited for, if any, on this team with Russ at the helm?
It's Jerry Jeudy, right?
Every single one of them.
Jeudy.
Yeah, it's got to be Cortland
But with Jerry, especially a dynasty-leaning podcast, and I can speak as a Jerry Jeudy owner. This guy's supposed to be this incredible receiver, and then you watch, and he is, and then you watch the fucking film, and then you look at the stats, and he's getting like balls over his head 2 years in a row, or at least last year he had like more passes towards him that were blamed incomplete on the quarterback than anyone. And now he's getting Russell Wilson. And as an avid person who doesn't, love the whole Russell Wilson experience, I do think it fits, and he's a really good quarterback. So, I mean, yeah, I think for the fact that he's been pretty disappointing so far, this is a huge spike for Jerry.
Absolutely. It's a gigantic spike for the whole team. I said it earlier, and it hurt me to say it, but pretty sure Broncos are winning the West next year. Am I right?
It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, I said the same thing. Well, other people said the same thing about the Chargers, and the Chargers are they're as cursed as me.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see a Alabama wide receiver have some success at the next level.
Oh, yeah, that would be really nice. I do think I've been hearing some people talk, and then I was talking to Danny, friend of the podcast, obviously, and it Russell Wilson has not been that like top 5 guy the last few years. Like, I'm pretty interested to see like if this trade does kind of see the decline of Russell Wilson. Like, I don't think that's what happens, but I don't know. Like, it's interesting. He's 34, hasn't been great, finally got hurt for the first time. I know it's like a freak finger, but I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily a slam dunk. So I don't know that I'm with you on the Broncos winning the West necessarily. I think the potential is there, and they're definitely a Super Bowl contender, even if they don't win the West, in my opinion. But I don't know. Just thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, they've had a pretty stellar defensive situation going on.
That's fair.
And we've been talking for years about the wasted talent on that offense.
Oh,
so
yeah,
if those guys are so fucking hungry, probably sick of hearing about everyone else in that division.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got their asses kicked by the Raiders a couple of times. Like, these guys are probably ready to go out there and set the record straight. So
it'd be fun if Von Miller came back too.
Like,
hey, I took a break with the Rams. Now I'm back.
Yeah, how many different colored jewels is he going to have in his Super Bowl rings, Dude. You got to diversify the color collection, match your wardrobes.
Well, I guess speaking of quarterbacks being traded too, we can also mention Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders.
The Commanders.
For a 3rd-round pick, 2 3rd-round picks, and then it looks like the 2nd-round pick the 2023 3rd-rounder can become a 2nd-round selection if Wentz plays 70% of Washington snaps. And they also swapped 2nd-round picks in this year's draft. So where do you guys see that? Like, I know Daniel over here has got a stack now. The McLaren Wentz stack.
I got all the stacks. I got a Logan Thomas Wentz stack in there now in a different league, and apparently I just have all the Carson Wentz shares left. Me and Christian just did a trade that involved Carson Wentz, so I didn't expect it to really mean anything, but kind of a bump. Pretty excited about it.
Well, good. I don't know. I think I'm finally I guess I'm off the Wentz train finally. I was on it for so long. I don't know. I felt like Indy was kind of the perfect place to succeed, and he didn't really improve. But who knows? I mean, that doesn't mean he can't. Again, I'll always say it, that 2018 season, still one of my favorite quarterback seasons to go back and watch before Carson got hurt. So if he could ever get back to that point, that would be awesome, especially with that offense. I mean, the line's good. Running game's good. Terry McLaurin's there. I mean, let's do it.
Really wish he wouldn't have got hurt that year.
Yeah.
Nick Foles had to come out and be an MVP, man.
Heartbreaking. So I don't know how many second chances or final rebirths you get, but it's got to be better than Alex Smith, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if that's the benchmark to
I still think they draft somebody though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to.
I think that's kind of the perfect bridge quarterback right there.
Yeah, could have been Bridge Wator.
That's true.
But
I saw the speculation of now Indy going after old Jordan Love. I don't know if you saw that. That would be pretty interesting. It'd be nice to see that dude get a chance for sure.
Yeah, it would. And I don't know that Green Bay will do it. I mean, based on everything that we read and everything that Rodgers said, retirement was a real option this offseason. I know some people in the media don't like to say it was, but according to him, it was. So I don't know that the Packers are really ready to move on from Love. If Rodgers intends on playing out the full length of that deal that he hasn't signed or whatever is going on with that, then yeah, it'll be interesting. But if they were to trade him, I think the Colts make sense. I still stand by the fact that the reason the Packers traded up in the 2020 draft in the first place was to take him away from the Colts. Like 100%, I stand by that. And that's why they traded up, because they thought Indy was going to trade up to come get him. Because the GM over there in Indianapolis was super high on him apparently and kind of wanted him. So it makes sense. And then I think it's more interesting than them supposedly being in on Jimmy G. Like, why do that? Like, okay, so Carson, going from trading Carson Wentz to trading for Jimmy G is like trading out your car with 3 wheels for a bike with 1. Like, it's like, it still doesn't work. What's the point?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
oh, yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, we'll see. And then Mike Williams did sign a 3-year, $60 million contract, $40 million guaranteed, which is, I mentioned this to you, Daniel, but like, we both agreed that guy is not getting $20 million on the market.
No.
Like, that's
they could have let him go to free agency and saved $6 million a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And this is the exact reason the Devonte Adams deal isn't getting done. Is shit like this.
Yeah, dude.
Mike Williams getting $20 million a year.
Yeah, Devontae's like, I need 28.
I want 40.
Yeah, 40. Yeah.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
How about this? You can pay me 40 or you can go get Mike Williams, you know? Like,
crazy.
Oh,
sad music.
I mean, it's great for him.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Fuck
sad.
me.
Cue the sad music for my sweet, sweet baby Josh Palmer. Danny boy, I'm with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a sad day.
But, takes away one of the hot free agents receivers. This free agency was supposed to be like super hot, and we'll get into that. Yeah, so let's talk about this last kind of big news. I'm going to kick it over to you, Christian, because you are the house Packer.
Yeah, so Rodgers is coming back. That's pretty exciting. There were moments I didn't think it was going to happen, moments where I thought that was the only logical thing to happen. It's just been a weird up and down roller coaster. As far as the deal, I don't know if you guys have seen, because it's not really being reported on that much, but Pat McAfee is still, as of right now, like arguing that his source is how he keeps saying it, heavily implying that his source is Aaron Rodgers. And he's saying that they haven't reached a deal and that the terms that were announced are like just erroneously false, and that apparently a cap-friendly deal is coming. So
damn.
I don't know what's going on with that. He certainly deserves what the numbers were. Like, I don't think that would be crazy. It does paint the narrative that like all he cares about is money, if that's what it is. But I mean, it's a business. You got to get paid.
Yeah.
And you're the 2-time MVP of the last 2 years, so I don't know. But that's more what I'm waiting on. As far as like, obviously I want to watch Aaron Rodgers until he retires. He's been the best quarterback I've ever watched, and I'm going to watch him for 18 years now.
That's crazy. It's been that long.
I hope it ends up with him retiring. I feel like this is that sign. I feel like at this point, that's it. We're just going to ride off into the sunset, and I'm pretty stoked for that. So.
Yeah, just watch that deal fall through, then all of a sudden Denver's like, hey, you want Russ back? We,
by the way.
Just
Can we undo that trade?
It was hilarious. I hope everybody in that front office just walks up to Russell Wilson and is just like, dude, you are our first choice, man.
They basically said that. Adam Schefter leaked that, like, oh no, this deal's been in the works for like weeks. The Aaron Rodgers news had nothing to do with this.
It happened like an hour later.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They had a deal for both these guys. Rodgers was choice A because let's be honest, he'd probably have been cheaper because he's older. So he probably would have been a little cheaper, and then Russell Wilson is option B. And that's what happened. So.
Yeah, that's funny.
So what is that? Is that Jimmy G is option G at that point?
Yeah.
G, something down there.
Oof. There's just so many quarterback needy teams, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a fun off
season. So fucking Minnesota fans, chill on the Kirk Cousins thing. Like
We're
it could be
keeping him.
so much worse. Like chill.
People are going to be fighting over Marcus Mariota in like 6 weeks. So
yeah.
Let's just calm down.
But speaking of that, let's go right into franchise tags, guys. Let's keep it on the Packer train and talk Devonte Adams. You think that guy's pissed or what?
I do. I'm hearing rumblings about that. Specifically, James Jones, old Packers receiver. You might remember wore the hoodie when he came back.
Oh, yeah.
Sick. He was saying that it doesn't seem like Adams is super hyped. He did iterate at the end there that he doesn't think he'll hold out, but he doesn't think he's happy either. And I mean, the deal's just more and more complicated. It seems like Brian Gutekunst, our GM, has a fundamental idea of how much the best receiver in the league is worth, and he doesn't think it's as much as Hopkins got. Whereas Adams wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league, and Hopkins is regardless, so he wants to be paid more than him. And they're kind of just stuck in this stalemate there.
Dude, Adams should have just hired Hopkins to be his agent.
I guess so.
The way Hopkins
Hopkins he got even more money than Adams would ever get because he didn't have an agent, right? He didn't have to pay
negotiated that himself, which is insane.
Which is like 3%? I can't remember.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that tag, that I was like, whew, I would be so pissed.
Yeah.
If I was him.
Fucking man.
But
hopefully they're tagging him with the intent of figuring out a deal and not just to keep him around. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Hopefully Rodgers is going to bang on the table like, he came out and said.
Well, that's why I'm so interested in the Rodgers deal, because if it is some super cap-friendly deal that, like, finagles them away to pay Adams too, then let's fucking go. But if it's not, then I have no idea how they're going to fix this.
Yeah.
Cap-friendly deals. Quarterbacks are known for taking them.
Yep. Well, speaking of people that another guy who is second year in the row with the franchise tag and Chris Godwin.
Oof.
Yeah. I mean, kind of sucks because these are two receivers on top of Mike Williams that was supposed to make this free agency so hot and spicy.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's coming down to Cedric Wilson,
Yeah.
The hottest free agent wide receiver now.
Sick.
Yeah, dude. But we'll see. I mean, who knows how exciting that's going to be if, Tom Brady's not there. We got Kyle Trask throwing the ball. Or even if he's going to be ready by the time the season comes. David Njoku tagged for the Browns. I thought that was interesting. Tight ends are a little cheaper to tag.
Yeah, for sure.
10.6 mil.
And I did read somewhere that if they dropped Austin Hooper, they could clear $2 million in cap space. So maybe they just see him and Harrison Bryant running that tight end core, and just we could see Austin Hooper hit the market here too. So see,
they burned Bright for that 1 year, didn't they?
Yeah, dude. A bear receiving core up there, though, man. Like, who knows? We'll see, 3 games where Njoku's relevant, and I'll just keep picking him up off the waiver wire and dropping him 2 weeks later.
It hurts.
Chiefs franchise tag, Orlando Brown. Good for the offensive line.
Yeah.
Cam Robinson at the Jaguars, so maybe that means Evan Neal isn't the 101 now.
Well,
It still should be.
I agree.
Yeah.
Then two interesting one, two other tight ends, Mike Gesicki and Dalton Schultz, both franchise tagged.
It makes so much sense to franchise tag a tight end, man. $10.6 million.
Yeah.
Who cares?
You can't sign Dalton Schultz to a deal paying him $10.6 million a year.
Yeah. Might as well. So I like we're gonna get another round of Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle in Miami. So that'll be cool. So I guess that's franchise tags. There are some more, but not super fantasy relevant.
Okay.
Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, the Black Kirk Cousins.
I never heard that one before.
Hilarious.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Damn.
It's
I wonder how that makes
accurate.
Kirk Cousins feel. He's like, damn, I thought it was just our fan base talking shit on. Oh, yeah. No, I like your English.
He's like, all right.
Yeah, you hear that?
It's like, I thought I'm
the white Dak Prescott.
Yeah, the white.
Shit, dude. That's too funny.
So I'm gonna kick it over to you, Daniel. Like, what are we
gonna do today, guys? What are we gonna talk about? What's been happening in the world? We're gonna try and take over the world. This guy.
Yeah.
Nice call. I will be the brain, and you can be Pinky.
Tight.
If you watch and you get it, because here he goes. No, we're coming off of the combine, and we got action. You know, we did a mock last week, the pre-combine mock. We did a pre-combine rankings. We did all this stuff. And, yeah, I'm using it. I'm burning it for warmth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit is in the past. It's in the rear view. We got guys, you know, switching lanes, high gear, leaving dudes in the dust. A lot's changed. The landscape of the 2022 class is starting to solidify, and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about who we got disappointed by, who we can't stop talking about, and guys that we had to Google real quick that just popped on the scene that we had no clue about. And so we each kind of picked our own guys, and we're going to start with the letdowns. Of course, there were some pretty awesome guys that we aren't going to get in the details about that had some pretty impressive combines. We can talk about Tyquan Thornton out of Baylor.
Baylor Bears.
Oh yeah,
Duh, Bears.
He's pretty good, man.
Yeah, 4.2240.
4.2240.
0.01 off for that Ross. Was it
John Ross? Yeah. So
the initial report was he broke it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The times
him and
were so
Olave would
weird.
have broken it if that initial report stood.
Yeah, the times. Yeah, it's so.
The times were all real fucky.
Yeah, which is fine, you know. If you're like stopwatching and then you bring the lasers out, of course some stuff's going to change. But yeah, I mean, if you look at, I'm looking at the past couple of years, and he's right up there with you know, Rondell and Paris Campbell, Henry Ruggs, some super fast guys. But you know, he's 6'2", 181 pounds, so he's got like, I don't know, pretty intriguing. But none of us picked him as a specialty flyer here, so we're just giving a little bit of an intro.
Yeah, and I mean, just real quick, we talk about Jameson Williams' size and speed all the time, and he's 6'2", 189 pounds.
Right.
So we just got a 6'2" guy that just ran a 4.28 40.
Yeah.
It's worth, someone's drafting him. He's getting drafted at some point. Someone's going to get tempted by that speed and size. So he's got to shoot up fantasy draft boards just for that reason.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and then it'll be really telling when he gets selected by that Las Vegas Raiders or Las Vegas. I got it right.
Yeah.
All right. Roll the B-reel. Cut to commercial.
I was gonna say, isn't that where Calvin Ridley's going, or is that just for vacation?
Oh my God. Yeah, he's hanging out with his friend Alvin Kamara. Yeah, Las Vegas is not the place for young athletes, but hey, There's a whole roster of them there. But another guy we got to talk about. So that's on the bright spot. Like that's someone we're all excited about. But someone that we might have been a little more excited about last week that we're not really jacked about anymore is a guy named Kyron. Kyron Williams, Notre Dame. So what are you going to say about a guy that doesn't weigh 200 pounds, that runs a 4.65 40 and has a 21st percentile burst score? Thanks, Player Profiler, for everything you do.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's
That's definitely the most disappointing, and I think we all agree, and that's why none of us picked him individually. It's just like the whole time we kept talking, like, man, if he could just get over 200 pounds and
not lose his speed.
And it's like, oh, so he didn't even have speed, I guess. I mean, maybe it's just a bad day. He still looks like a really good runner and has the vision and stuff that we all talk about. But yeah, definitely the most disappointing guy. You want those measurables to be there when you're that size, and they just did not show up.
Yeah, you don't want to be outran by all the 220 guys when you're supposed to be slim and hot. But while we're talking about letdowns, let's get into our 3 letdowns. Christian, you want to start us off, man?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you called this one from the jump, so I almost should let you do it. But Damien Pierce, yeah. I guess, I don't know. I guess I don't know what I was watching. I liked his size, and I thought he was a bit faster than he was. He ended up with a 4.59, which isn't terrible, but it's not great either. And then a burst score of 48. Again, not the worst thing in the world necessarily. But when you couple that with the low production, the 100 carries, 574 yards, it's like, okay, so the coaches were seeing this. They were seeing a guy who was not as big of an athlete as he looked like on film, at least to me. And so that's kind of the role he's going to fall into. Maybe some kind of secondary back or some kind of just, option, running back by committee option, late round pick. I would not really going to be worth much in fantasy necessarily. I mean, we'll see where he goes. That could still be telling, but the explosiveness that I thought was there clearly is not, unless he just had a bad day. So yeah, a bit disappointing. And he's older, 23 years old. That's all those things together just make him far less interesting. I think I had him at 5th or 6th in my RB rankings, and I haven't done much on the rankings, but I already put him at 11.
Same.
So, it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you said it yourself. I didn't have to change his rankings because he's already in the dumpster. Nah.
There you go.
Yeah, you hope for the best. You hope the guy just got overlooked. Now. But oh shit, yeah, I didn't wear my Trey Sermon shirt. I saw it. I chose not to wear that. So we've all been there, man. But yeah, I think you told it how it is. He's probably going to get an opportunity, but not as excited as we once were. Yeah. But let's roll that into AJ, man. Let's see what you got.
So my letdown of the draft was Kentucky wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. So he showed up. He ran a 4.44, which, that's not a terrible thing to run. That's not bad for a receiver. Unfortunately, that put his speed score at 85, which was the 23rd percentile. And why is that? Because he came in at 5'8", 178. And if you watch the previous episode when I talked about him, I was really excited when he came out 5'11", 185. I guess, loses 7 pounds, but those 3 inches as a wide receiver. And on top of that, didn't even really have much of a burst score. Was in the 32nd percentile. So the metrics are disappointing. I still think he's a football player. You just don't like that size, man. And you don't like that burst because that's what I loved on film is he would just explode through a hole. So maybe we're wrong on our film watching, boys, or myself.
Whoa.
I still love the tape, though. A 39, almost 40% target share in college. So the projection's there. you'll have to see the draft capital. I think he's gonna. Man, I even want to say he needs to be in the right scheme, but he doesn't even have the speed. Yeah. So that's kind of. Yeah, it's really tough. So that's where I'm at. It will be interesting to see if someone likes him enough to take a chance on him. He just feels like a smaller Randall Cobb, worse Randall Cobb.
I could tell your enthusiasm.
He's like a current Randall Cobb. No, I'm just kidding.
Man,
but that's kind of the vision I had for him. But it just doesn't seem like that will be him. But
I still got some hope for him, man. I really do.
I do too. I believe in the the target share and the production and the tape. So at least he has those things, unlike
but
Damien Pierce or something. But
then you're like, okay, well he's 5'8", but can he jump? And 34.5-inch vert is not anything super impressive. And so
he's about to get bossed around.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just size matters. It really does. We want to act like it doesn't because these players are super exciting, but it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Rams will pick him up.
Him and Tutu can hang out on the bench together.
For sure, man.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome. Well, I guess I'll top off the letdown section with a guy named David Bell. Wow. I could have wore the David Bell Ring the Bell shirt, but I didn't want to.
Is that in the dumpster with Damien Pierce? Or?
No, man.
I'm just kidding.
I'm happy about this David Bell stuff, man. Leaves him out there for a guy like me to get him at a more obtainable, more reasonable place in the rookie draft. His stock is down. He did not do a great job with his speed score. It was atrocious. Let me just put it out there. His speed score was in the 38th percentile, and his burst score was the 20th percentile. So what are you going to do? We were just talking about a guy that ran a 4.65 in Kyren Williams, and that was pretty much it for us and him. Like we're done with the Kyren Williams movement. So maybe we should be done with the David Bell movement. He does weigh 200 pounds, 212 pounds. So maybe give him that. But when it comes to David Bell, no one really expected him to pop off with the athleticism, and he was extremely disappointing across the board in the combine. I was looking at the math bomb score, and it was like sub 3. It was just awful, just extremely poor. But someone had commented like, "Hey, this guy would have been better off if he hadn't gone to the combine, right?"
Yeah, 100%.
Because what he does on the football field is pretty spectacular, and I think that it's gonna get him to be a starting wide receiver in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But if you think about 93 catches, only 6 touchdowns. There's not a lot of runaway speed, and that's kind of what you need at the NFL level. Yeah. If it's not like he's a tight end, if he's just going to be that kind of possession receiver, I just worry that he's not going to be able to get the same kind of separation or not be able to utilize his physical play style as much against NFL caliber defenses. But I never back down. I do not back down.
He already bought the shirt.
So I already bought the shirt.
I don't know. I said it last week. I don't think he necessarily needed to have the greatest combine. I definitely would have liked better numbers than this for sure. But I don't know. I think his role is still kind of solidified to me because of just the way he plays. He'll still be a number 2. Maybe a less exciting option, and there's going to be, I just talked about a 34.5-inch vert being bad, and he had a 33. So, it's definitely...
But he's 6'1". He makes up those inches.
Yeah, he does make up for that for sure. But, I don't know. I said he didn't need to have a good one. This was worse than I was thinking. I was thinking like 4.5, like late 4.5 maybe would be decent enough, and then maybe just a little bit of on the jumps, but I don't know. I'm still excited about him to a point. He's going to fall a little bit though, for sure.
I'm really excited about him still. Honestly, like, this is a true letdown. Like, you guys, Damien Pierce especially, he is a faller. You know what I mean? Like, his shit got wrecked.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams destroyed.
Yeah.
David Bell tweaked. You know, like, it kind of just dampens the excitement. But he still is, like you're saying, his game is not about jumping off the screen with the athleticism. It's about being a real ass football player. And you can't, there's no stat for that. Yeah. Or, there's no combine test for it anyway. So I think he's going to be.
What's his Wonderlic, bro?
Hey, man, 14-point tweave. It's off the charts. So did I still?
But no, I'm 100% with you. I'm still pretty excited about him, but just a few people that maybe blew up a little more.
Yeah, and he's young, 21.2. So, get him in there where he doesn't need to be the alpha because he's not going to be that deep threat guy. He's got a role to play, and it's a sexy slot receiver who can get it done and catch the ball when it comes his way. That's what you need. Move them sticks.
Hell yeah.
So let's roll that excitement, that David Bell excitement, straight into the big bump guys. So Christian, who the fuck are you super excited about now?
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about Alec Pierce here. Really good size, 6'3", 211. Put up decent stats, 52 catches, 884 yards, and 8 touchdowns. I just don't think when you watch the tape on him, you kind of saw an incredible athlete. You saw a decent number 2 who was really strong, really good in the blocking game, pass or run. But then, he kind of showed out at his combine. 4'4", 140, 40.5-inch vertical, had a burst score of 94. Just pretty impressive stats. And when you add that to the tape that he kind of showed, I think it boosted him to a number 2, a la like the last guy we were talking about, David Bell, because he's still not like the most amazing route runner. He's not like, when you watch him, it's not this dynamic film, but he's similar in the fact that like he's always in on the play. He's great physically. He's got a pretty good high point, being 6'3", and his size, he can kind of bully people out of his way.
And that vertical.
And that vert, 40.5 inches. That's crazy at 6'3". Let's go. His routes are nothing amazing. Like, he's not going to burn people and get open that way. And again, he's not like still the most dynamic guy in the world that you've ever seen. Just pretty like, I don't know. You can almost see, I don't know how I'm going to explain it, but you can almost see how he's going to run, if that makes sense. Like, he doesn't have that quick agility where you're like, where's this guy going to go? You're like, he's beelining it that way. That's exactly what he's doing. And
okay.
So, yeah, I got there in the end. That was a rough explanation, but that's what I was trying to say. But, yeah, so I think he's an interesting guy. I haven't necessarily ranked him yet because I'm still going through all the combine stuff. But he'll get a bump, and I think a team's going to like his film a lot when you add in the athleticism.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think, he's kind of explosive, huge body type, right in the zone I want. I think he's got the opportunity to really get on the scene and crush it, man. I think this guy I was fairly excited about going into the combine. That whole Cincinnati team just had like something to be like, just all of them just had a little, I don't know, man, a little sparkle to them with the season they had. So he's taken full advantage of that, and now he's propelled himself right where he needs to be to have someone really take a look at him and give him a chance, What do we think? Day 2 guy?
Late day 2, maybe early day 3, 3rd or 4th round, kind of thinking.
Cool. So I was hoping for a 3rd round look on this guy, maybe.
Yeah, the way the effort's there, and like you said, he's always in on the play, and the way that, the Rams have kind of been changing this landscape of how you use receivers, and as that McVay tree grows and grows, I could just definitely see him being a good player to form in that kind of play style.
Just given a specific role that's not
so maybe not necessarily fantasy, but definitely the opportunity to be on the field, and then once on the field, maybe propel.
Yeah.
Right. And then he can work on disguising his routes.
Yeah.
Become a complete badass. Fuck. But if we want to talk about complete badasses, I will mention though real quick, Alec Pierce is that's 2 first names, so keep an eye out for that. But total badasses, AJ, who do you got for us in the badass department?
Rashad White.
Woo.
And this guy, man, you kidding me?
Yeah.
6 foot, 214 pounds, a 40-yard dash of 4.48. Ooh! Speed score of 106, the 84th percentile. Burst score 127, 87th percentile. He's got the 3 down back size. He can catch the ball. 43 receptions last year with Arizona State. 60% target share, man. I mean, the only thing not to like about this guy is he's a 4-year guy that transferred from JUCO, so he's 23.1, so a bit older. But besides that, I mean, we also have to note that these running backs didn't run their agility drills.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, supposedly to do it at the combine. But I would say, man, if anyone's stock in the running back game went up, besides, I guess, Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, but you already had those guys at your 1 and 2. I'm guessing.
They just separated.
Yeah, but if anything, I personally feel like Rashad White has found his way into that 4, possibly even argue with that 3 ranking.
I slid him up to 4.
Yeah, same here.
Got him at 4 for sure.
When we were talking about doing the segment, the first name that popped in my head was Rashad White, but I figured you had the same thought, so I went in a different direction. So, but I'm right there with you, man. What he did, he's the perfect size, weight-wise, sitting there in that 210 range. That was the dominant range for my running back episode, and I want that burst to be like 75 or higher percentile.
87, baby.
87. So.
Yeah, and
he's looking good.
I heard someone make the comparison of David Johnson, but a little smaller, maybe not as strong of runner, but still the pass production's there, and he's like 10 pounds lighter. But I like that, like a 4-year guy. I think if he can come out and show out, I think you can get a good 2 to 3 years of production out of this guy. Maybe he doesn't razzle dazzle, but I definitely think he could make a case to be a bell cow for somebody.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hell yeah, man. This is another guy. It just depends on where he lands in the draft. Yeah. So day 2 guy, huh?
And we're also talking. This is kind of where we're, as we mentioned, where this big exodus of running backs is upon us with the Derrick Henrys, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, all these guys turning the death age of 27, so.
Yeah. Zeke. Yeah.
Zeke, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a rough class, man. I was glad that you went with Rashad White. I think we've all been pretty pumped about him from the get-go. I thought for sure you're going to do Christian Watson, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's already getting enough talked about.
Yeah,
man.
I'm crazy.
Yeah. Know the name. But know the game.
I wanted to do just a real brief, quick shout out to my boy Kiante Ingram.
Okay.
Who did pretty well. He came out 6 foot 220, and ran a 4.53, and had the speed score of 105, burst of 119. So he was in that 56 percentile. But I just wanted to shout him out.
Yeah, AJ's been talking about him for a while, so Trojans, man, he slipped in that horse. He's behind your city walls.
This is kind of like one of these classes. Almost everybody in this running back class seems like they're 210 to 220 and 5'10 to 6 foot, and it's these ideal sizes. And it's which one's gonna get the opportunity? And I feel like Keontae's a guy that could, smash and grab an opportunity, but.
Yeah. He looked like a solid back, man. And I really like him to be heavier than 210. All these guys are 210 pounds. Come on, man. You can hit the gym or whatever,
Yeah.
Take a time machine, alter your genetics, do whatever you got to do. Yeah. But I got a running back, too, that I'm giving the big bump to, and it's Zamir White. out of Georgia. I like Zamir White a lot. I think that he was supposed to be the guy a couple years back. Like, this is a guy that I heard about from this class before hearing about pretty much all of the other guys in this class. And he didn't really have a killer production profile with Georgia. And kind of breaks your heart, you know. You think Georgia, big school, trying to have an awesome run game. And then this guy didn't break 1,000 yards last year, you know, only had 11 touchdowns, only had 9 catches. So not very excited about him. But then when he came to the combine, I like his size. He's right at 6 foot, 214 pounds, and he ran a 4.4, which really is what makes me happy. And then the broad jump was 10.8 feet. So he's explosive, he's athletic, he's fast. The burst score was at 64th percentile, and the speed score was a 95th percentile. So that's what gets me amped. So I revisited the film, and I like the way he runs the ball. I think he makes a lot of good decisions in the line of scrimmage. He can get through congestion, and that's something this class, a lot of these guys like to bounce it out, like to do cutbacks. He can drive up a gap and clear congestion without a wide open hole that some of these other guys have utilized. It looks like the defense sees him coming, you know, like they are kind of planning for him. So they try to keep a lid on him, and he was still pretty successful. I really, really do like his play style, but I was a little concerned. It seemed like he had a lack of power in what I saw. He wasn't really creating a lot after contact. And he didn't really do well on broken plays. Like, he wasn't creating something out of nothing. If he didn't find that small hole to get through, it was kind of, you know, he didn't have that recovery mode that we've seen from some of these guys. Even Isaiah Spiller has a pretty good play recovery mode. But he's fast, and it shows in his game. He runs away with the ball. He can bounce outside like these other fellas. But I really liked his commitment to, like, the vision at the line of scrimmage and wiggling through tight holes and the speed. So I'm higher on him than I was. I don't know if that sounded like I was down on him or not, but he's got a big bump for me. And it's a lot of it's the athleticism. And, you know, like I said, I like him over 210 pounds. So I think he's kind of a quiet back that can get in there and take off. I know he's been comped to Damien Harris a little bit, like nothing crazy sexy. Less catches than Kenneth Walker, which is I didn't think was possible. So yeah, I don't know. What you guys?
He's my 5.
He's your 5.
He moved up to 5.
Woo!
I liked him before, and I like the speed.
Yeah, there's a pretty big drop off, man. I mean, who knows? Even like Pierre Strong could get in there in the top.
Oh, don't get ahead of him.
Oh my God. Oh God. What the fuck? I mean, where did these guys even come from, you know? Is there anyone that just popped on the scene that we never even heard of before? Christian, who's a guy that just came out of fucking nowhere for you, man?
Oh, I think you just let it drop. It's Pierre Strong, my boy.
Hell yeah.
Man, yeah, he came out of nowhere. More specifically, came out of South Dakota State. And like you're talking about, I haven't finished my rankings, but I got him sitting at 6 right now.
Okay.
So I boosted him a lot. Didn't really know about this guy. He wasn't on a lot of draft boards, but you go back and look at his stats: 1,686 yards, 7 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns. Doesn't really give you much in the receiving game. Only had 150 yards. He's a bit older, 23. There's a few like older guys, but holy shit, did he crush the combine? 4.37 on the 40. He's sitting at 5'11", 207 pounds. Honestly, I made the joke to you guys. It was something like that's what I wanted to see Kyron Williams do.
Yeah.
You know, get a little bit heavier and have a really good speed. He had a 36-inch vert, 10.4 broad, and that gave him a 75 percentile burst score. So it's right above that limit. I like to cut it at 70, but 75 is preferred. So he's right there, man. And you can see it when you watch him. Got really quick feet. It kind of reminded me of Darren Sproles a little bit when he's running around with those quick feet. Similar to me, I don't know. Maybe you can bounce back on that, but Speaking of bounce, I think he bounces a lot, but he does it well. Like, those running backs that kind of bounce and then they end up getting caught in one place. He more like bounces forward and is patient and finds the hole. And he can sidestep people really easily, find a hole, and then he uses that speed and burst to just go through it. He's pretty creative, too. They used him in creative ways. He was in the Wildcat a lot. He threw a touchdown, did a lot of blocking. Like, he's just really, really fun to watch. I don't know what's going on over
Sorry,
there.
Dude,
you're insane. You nailed it.
He fucking showing the highlights and he pulls a Wildcat snap and then you're like,
he's really creative. You see him in the Wildcat a lot. And me and Daniel are just like, you fucking kidding me?
he just had a Wildcat touchdown run in this one. But
anyway, sorry.
Sorry, dude. Yeah, you nailed it. Crushing it.
So, we got to come with some bad. The pass game inexperience scares me, especially in today's NFL. You kind of want a guy that can do both. I don't necessarily, in the little bit of film I watched, I didn't think he looked bad. Like, he didn't have bad hands or anything. They just didn't really use him, which also is going to go into his pass blocking. You didn't really see much of it, and when you did, it wasn't spectacular. And the biggest thing for him, Pierre Strong is not that strong at the line. There was a few times he kind of got taken down. But if he can find that hole, which he's really good at doing, he's gone. Like he hits it and he gets like 6, 7, 8 yards super fast. And so that's the only issue, man, is that little bit of physicality at the line, and I'd like to see more pass game work out of him. But yeah, like he slid under the radar, but I don't think for very much longer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's a guy that I haven't fully checked out, but from what I've seen, a couple highlights, a couple games, really dynamic, man.
Yeah.
And it obviously showed at the combine. But it's crazy that you say he doesn't appear strong at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's kind of when I watched film on him. It's the same thing. It's like if he gets wrapped up, he's done.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But he tends to not get wrapped up that often. So if he can continue that in the NFL, there we go.
It's been a real football game.
Well,
the small school guys, man. What are you going to do?
The Jackrabbits, man.
The Jackrabbits.
I know it.
Let's go. Cade Johnson.
Cade Johnson, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, Cade Johnson.
Where you at, Cade? Whose practice squad you on?
He's probably going with Russ to Denver, right?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, they need another receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, what, the 4-year contract, right? Just give them all 4 years.
I'll take the next one.
All right.
I got a guy out of the Big Ten.
Oh, wow.
By the name of Isaiah Pacheco. Rutgers University. This guy popped off because I was looking at the 40 times, and damn, man. This guy came out and ran a 4.37, second fastest running back at the combine. 5'10", 216, put him at a speed score of 118, which is nice. Unfortunately, the burst score wasn't really there, 32nd percentile. But I watched the film, and this guy's he's exciting. He's exciting. It's kind of one of those started watching films. I'm like, I should have probably picked someone else. God dang it. But no, he's not afraid to run between the tackles. Dude's always falling forward, so it's like the effort is there, and it's great, and he fights for the yards. The breakaway speed, obviously, at a 4.37, you're going to have that breakaway speed. Like, this guy was outrunning safeties and cornerbacks, which is rare unless you're Pierre Strong. But similar to Pierre Strong, man, this guy, he's going to go down on an arm tackle. And that is kind of what did it in for me. And it's such a bummer, man. He's so fast. It's like if there's a hole or a gap, dude, he's gone. And almost every, like that play right there, it's like if he finds a gap, he's outrunning the safety by 5 yards. Like, he's incredibly fast. But like I said, if he gets wrapped up in the backfield, he's going down. Maybe if he gets in like an outside zone scheme where he can hit the edge, hit the gaps, and go. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like much. 3.9 yards per carry. Almost every game of high production was basically one play. Like he ran for like 153 yards against Michigan with an 80-yard touchdown. And he ran like 116 yards in another game with like a 70-yard touchdown. Besides that, he's averaging like 53 yards a game. And he only outran his quarterback by 65 attempts. So he had a rushing quarterback on his team too. So that limited his production as well. And when you're relying on your quarterback to run over your running back, like how really great is the guy. But anyway, it was exciting. I'm glad I watched the film. I was happy to. Definitely not going all out to like draft this guy in like the third round. But, you know, he's got the side. He's got the speed. If he gets some kind of love in the draft, I guess. But, sorry. Not as exciting, but I already committed to the one guy. Great film, though.
Yeah. Now, the film was pretty cool for him. That whole Rutgers team has a little bit of speed, like sleepy speed excitement.
So what I wrote down for him is he's got the toughness, but he doesn't have the strength. You know? And that kind of sucks.
But he's got the speed.
He's got the speed.
He's got the speed.
But the speed.
So you mentioned it. It was similar speed to Pierre Strong. And again, you kind of mentioned that they both kind of get taken down at the line. But the thing that made me not really worry about it with Strong was his ability to kind of bounce and move through the line. I haven't really watched anything on Pacheco here. Do you kind of see a similar vibe? Can he kind of get to holes? Or does he need him to be there?
He kind of like wants... It's like he almost just wants to find that big play, which gives it a little... makes him a little indecisive at the line.
Okay.
So he's trying to always bounce and rely on the speed. And, you know, when you got guys like that going to the next level, like he's got the speed, so maybe it could work out for him. But he needs to have quicker decisions at the line of scrimmage. And, yeah, we'll see. It got pretty bad, like in the backfield, where a defensive lineman, granted it was in the Big Ten, and there's some pretty awesome pass rushers in the Big Ten. But, man, he'd be in the backfield, and the guy just had his arm around. He's like, gotcha.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I'm interested to see, though. I want to check him out.
Yeah.
You know who you should really check out is a different Isaiah. Isaiah Weston out of the University of Northern Iowa, which is the Panthers. The Purple Panthers. They're purple. This guy's insane, man. I mean, you guys already know if you track burst score. I think you do. I've heard you guys mention it once or twice. Peace be to Player Profiler for bursting it onto the scene. But this guy was a 97th percentile.
Woo! And
the speed score, 97th percentile. That's stacks on stacks. We're talking about a guy who is 6'4", 214 pounds that ran a 4.42. Vert was a 40. You know, sorry, Immature Bebe. No, Immature Bebe, I had like a 46, but don't worry about it. But the broad jump over 11 feet, it's incredible. It's fucking incredible, man.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about some numbers? Woo-wee. Who, out of all of these wide receivers at the Combine, had the highest yards per catch? No one other than Isaiah Weston.
What?
And by a margin, he was at this past year had a 24.9 yard per catch. That's pretty incredible.
That is wild.
Yeah, 35 catches, 5 touchdowns. He only had about a 50% catch rate, but you can't blame him for that. He's doing big things out there. He is a little bit older. He's 24.6 years old, but he is a deep threat, and he's fast. He is big. Watching his film, put a play or two on.
If you're not watching it on YouTube, you're doing it wrong.
I'm telling you, this guy, like, I had to do some cross-referencing. I had to get an intern to figure out how to find film on this guy. You got to break down a whole game tape. But basically, he's fast and he's got a really good route tree, and he's a smooth runner with a lot of momentum. And so he kind of just pushes guys and gets open deep, and it's incredible. If you look at, his depth of target, most of his targets are the 20-plus yards down the field. And he's got like a PFF rating of 90-plus on those deep balls. And that's where he makes his bread and butter. He's got smooth hands, and he just puts himself where he needs to be. And incredibly, I didn't do a ton of comps, but I had to look like who's 6'4", fast, deep threat. And I came up with a guy that I think is an extremely accurate comp for him. And it is none other than Nico Collins.
Oh,
yeah, formerly Wolverines, Michigan, who's a Houston Texan now, and he'd be a whole lot better. Hit me with the hour and 6 minute and 20-second mark in that Youngstown game, but
don't give away too many of your secrets.
Hey man. But he just has that deep threat. He's fast, gets past them, physical. He's just a great player. He did miss a year with injury. Obviously, he's from a tiny school. Some of these stadiums look like a high school. But it's just, he lays out for the catch. He's got a ton of contested catches. He's a fucking baller, man. I don't know where he came from, but I think he's got the potential to get some traction. Round 5, round 6, and make a name for himself. He's definitely a guy I'm going to keep an eye on. And he is not the Jonathan Adams Jr. of this draft. He is better.
I was going to leave that joke off camera.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got knife wounds here from AJ jabbing me, stabbing me, and grabbing me. So I think we don't have anything prepared, but can we talk a little bit about the quarterbacks?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I thought personally, I liked what I saw out of Malik Willis as far as throwing the ball. I was pretty impressed. I don't want to put you too heavily on the spot, but one of your guys, Christian, had a hell of an awesome combine.
Yeah.
So,
Desmond Ridder, he looked really, really good, super fast.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah, what did he end at? I forgot to write it down here. What was the 40?
He had a 4.52, 90th percentile for a quarterback.
Yeah. Pretty impressive, man. And he just looks, I don't know, if he can keep that up, he looks like a professional quarterback with the athleticism. Kind of what I always talked about, whereas like Kenny Pickett, I think, is the number one guy. Well, I guess I'm not supposed to like him because of his hands, but I still have him as the number one guy.
I still need to measure my hands.
Because he's the most pro-ready. I think you could throw him into an offense today and he would be effective. But I think the guys that have the biggest boom potential are Ridder, Corral, and Willis. Those are the guys that if they can come out and consistently be like an NFL quarterback, reading offenses, making good decisions, and throwing the ball well, you add in their athleticism, especially what Desmond Ridder showed you, I'm all in. I think Desmond Ridder could be really sick. I'm going to have to change up my rankings here. I think Sam Howell might take a tumble.
Yeah. Sam Howell ran a 5.04 40, and I'm putting Ridder above Howell right now, personally.
Me too.
Corral had a pretty good combine as well. So
yeah, it's almost for me like Ridder, Corral, and Willis all jump up, and then Howell just falls down, and then the rest of my rankings didn't really change.
And Pickett to me is draft dependent, man. Like, honestly, I know he's pro ready and he's got small hands or whatever. Like, fuck, dude, who gives a shit, right? Honestly, maybe historically quarterbacks have been taller with bigger hands, but historically wide receivers have been bigger. But now pass interference and aggressive play nature has made it to where smaller hands and smaller bodies can be effective playmakers. So.
Well, and my whole thing is what's the worry with the hands is that he's going to fumble.
You're right.
Like that's the big worry. Okay, well, why hasn't he had an issue fumbling? Like I know that the competition steps up in the NFL, but like he's not going to get hit that much harder.
Right.
That often. Like I feel like any of the hits. I mean, who knows if he comes out and and starts fumbling every other play, then maybe I'll look stupid. But if Kenny Pickett doesn't succeed, it's not because his fucking hands are small.
Well, that's what I mean, that's like I was telling my wife, like, without actively looking into Kenny Pickett's hand size, I've heard from like 4 or 5 unprompted sources, be it our text messages or like Sports Center or Twitter or, my Google News feed or whatever about this dude's hands. And it's like, I'm like, well, if this guy sucks, it's his fucking hands' fault. And if this guy becomes a Hall of Fame quarterback, they're going to be like, despite the hand size, he overcame, short pinkies. Like, who even gives a fuck?
I do.
But I'm with you, so.
Shout him out for the way he handled it. I think he's been handling it super well. I sent you guys that quote, but for anybody that hasn't seen it, listening to the pod, somebody asked Kenny Pickett about his hand size, and his response was, if I throw it 45 yards on a rope, they're not going to say it came from a small hand. So there you go. That's how you handle that. Let's move on. This is stupid. I'm sick.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
the perfect answer.
I love it because I have just like all these subscriptions to YouTube, just randomly through fantasy or whatever sources I find. And I was on my work computer the other day and I got a notification. It was like, every throw Kenny Pickett's made in the rain. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, you have people out here really striving for content.
Jeez, man.
And what's crazy, it's going to make him fall. It is. People are going to be freaking out about it. Some old school scout football heads, that's why they're talking about it. And it's just, I don't know. It's silly to me. Who knows? The only fair argument I've seen, and it was wild because it was in a Twitter comment, which is not normally where you find thoughtful, logical responses. But basically somebody was saying it's not necessarily about the fact that his hands are small. It's the percentage of people with that size hands haven't succeeded. And so you're hoping for an outlier to the trend. And so that's why it's a scary pick. So that logically, okay, that's fair. But also, like, it's not going to stop me from wanting him. I'll hope, because I see it. I see his accuracy, his timing, all the throws that he can make. That's going to make me not care about his hands. But the logic there is sound to a point.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see how many guys threw for 4,300 yards with that size hand and what their future looked like.
That, and if it's wrong, forgive me, everyone. But I saw somebody put this out. I didn't check it. But apparently the last guy to measure with the same size hand as him was Michael Vick. So, I mean... Well,
I had a caveat to that. So what, he has 8.5 inch? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I saw, of all starting NFL quarterbacks, the smallest hands was Taysom Hill. So I'm out.
Shit.
I'm out. Fuck all this Taysom bullshit. Now we got tiny hands to blame.
Tiny
no,
hands,
thank you.
Kenny Pickett coming in. Jesus.
Makes sense why he works so hard. You're picking up what I'm putting down.
I tell you what, man, fingers so small it's a toothpick it, man. No problems.
But no, back to what we started talking about. Desmond Ridder showed out. I think he's going to be awesome. He's going to get drafted. All this bullshit, it's going to happen every single year. Everyone's like, or not every single year, but a lot of times like, oh, there's going to be no quarterbacks going in the top 10. Bullshit. I bet 2 of these guys go in the top 10.
Absolutely.
Because people need quarterbacks. Somebody's going to trade into the top 10 to get the one they like the best. You just got to, and I'm with you though. Kenny Pickett is pretty dependent on where he goes. And I also think, I love Kenny Pickett. I think he's awesome. I think, like I've said, the upside on a Ridder or maybe a Willis is higher because they're more dynamic. But Kenny Pickett could be, I don't know, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
He could turn into that. Like, that's his ceiling, in my opinion. And maybe higher. Who knows? All these guys can work on their craft. But that's kind of what I see for him, whereas Desmond Ridder has the build of a more like a Patrick Mahomes, if you want to go that far. Not saying he's going to be that guy, but
he's going to be better.
That's more the upside you're looking for with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait till the Seahawks take Malik Willis. It's going to be awesome.
That'll be fun.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah, man. I appreciate it. Like you. I threw that out there just wanting to throw some stuff out, and then an unprepared Christian is obviously the best among us every time. So thanks for having all of that just off the rip, man. So
yeah, I love it.
Anything else, guys? I mean, the world is our oyster, man. It's get some free agency coming through. Just more tape grinding for me.
Yeah, get Allen Robinson a job, man.
Yeah.
Get that man a job.
Somebody get Will Fuller in the USFL.
Yeah.
Nah, we got a bunch of crazy free agency stuff going on, and so I guess I better trade for Christian Kirk before he ends up with the Packers or whatever.
Yeah. Hot tip, unless you're in our league, pay for Alexander Madison. Watch out.
Hey, hot tip, if you're in our league, give me all of your picks for any of my players that aren't Jonathan Taylor. Well,
let's end on that high note.
Yeah, you can cut that. Now, man, RDR out. Having so much fun, man.
Peace out, guys.
The rookies are among us.